Welcome to NAGLREP Success, a podcast series featuring the talents of LGBT real estate agents and allies who inspire the LGBT community. I'm your host, David Cerroti. One of the fastest growing franchises in the world is ENGEL VÖLKERS, and we are thrilled today to welcome ENGEL VÖLKERS North American CEO, Anthony Hitt. He's been a star agent, a team builder, and a budding executive star who has some very, very interesting thoughts about the industry. Anthony, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for inviting me, David. It's exciting to be here.
Well, your story as we go forward over the next few minutes is really fascinating, but I first want to understand the ENGEL VÖLKERS model. It's not the traditional America First brand, is it?
Well, it's interesting. A lot of people say that we're not traditional, and in some ways I think we're more traditional than a lot of the other brands on the street. What does make us different is we are founded in Hamburg, Germany back in 1977, so we've been around about the same amount of time as the other more well-known U.S. franchise systems. But we're definitely a customer-centric brand, and with that, it doesn't always make us seem, I guess, like a lot of the other brands out there. But our model is a little different. We definitely come in with a retail perspective. We're definitely coming in from a premium perspective, and definitely a consumer-first perspective that ultimately I think makes us probably the most agent-centric brand out there.
Well, you're bringing in a world view rather than just an American view.
I think that's absolutely true, but we still know that real estate is local, and so that local expertise in the market is still the most important piece. But as with society now, I think it's not just knowing your backyard. You need to know, the entire community, whether it be the nationwide or the continent, or in our case, global. We're in 32 countries around the world now, and one of the things that I'm pretty excited about our brand, we aren't just dots on a map. We're really connected. We're a very collaborative brand, which means if I'm sitting in a shop here in New York City or one down in Baton Rouge, I'm still very connected to our shop in Hong Kong or in Hamburg or in the Côte d'Azur or in Paris.
And how is that helping your franchisees?
Well, again, with this being as the world gets smaller and this being a global market, I think having the insight and the expertise and someone to collaborate, again, across town or across the country or across the world is really important. And as we know that buyers are coming from all over the world now, understanding the complications of those different markets, the cultures in those different markets, makes us provide a higher level of service. And I think even if you look at U.S. or Canadian or just real estate business in the areas that we've been serving for so many years, what a client wants and expects from us is changing. We used to be just the access to the data or the key to the front door, but now our expertise, our intelligence, our ability to interpret the data to help somebody navigate is more and more important, especially as people are moving across the country, across the data, across the world. And I think that's really providing a lot of extra value for us. And I think our shop concept and the way we do business globally and that connection and that collaboration that we have on a global basis sets us apart, and I think that's why we are having such success right now in North America as we grow this brand. I mean, we're at 120 shops now in North America. Pretty exciting.
And 90 markets, and boy, you must have been busy last year bringing on 23 new companies.
It's interesting. When we first came into the United States, people really didn't know what our brand was all about. What is this German brand coming into the U.S. to tell us how to do business? And but what's happened now, first of all, this business, our U.S. operations are led by what I would consider a who's who of U.S. real estate, and we have also attracted some of the best real estate professionals, some of the highest ranking when it comes to production real estate professionals in North America. But I think there's a niche, and I think there's a lot of people out there who are looking for a brand like ours. Our core values are competency, exclusivity, and passion. I believe there is a shortage of competence in our industry, and it's unfortunate. There's some amazing real estate agents in our business, but there's a lot of people who probably shouldn't be in this business. Our brand is very much about having the most competent professionals, because we do believe in a brand promise that if you choose to work with our shop in Minneapolis and you have a great experience, and now you happen to find yourself in Barcelona, that you should get a great experience there too. And that requires us all to kind of work from the same playbook. So being a competent brand, being an exclusive brand, knowing we're not for everyone, and we're perfectly comfortable for that. But the fact that now people understand what that means, and it's not meant in an arrogant way, it's basically meant that if you are the type of real estate professional who puts your client's best needs interest first, if you're a real estate professional who is excited about having the best possible platform to provide services to your clients, and if you're willing to be in a collaborative environment where it's not just all about you and your personal brand, but a collaborative brand that says let's all work together to do what's best for our client, and if you get that, then this is absolutely the brand for you. And then we're just a passionate group of people. I love passionate people. Our third core value, competence, exclusivity, and passion. We believe you've got to love this business. You've got to love your clients. You've got to love yourself. And that comes really, those three values come together to create something I think pretty special. And as obvious as that seems, or as simple as that seems, it took a few years for people to get that that's who we are. And now that people get it, there's a lot of people who aspire to be in a brand like that, and I think that's where our success is coming from. We're attracting some of the best brokerages in the markets that we're serving, and we're attracting the best of the best when it comes to the agents who we call advisors to represent to go forward. The people who are joining the brand are finding success. So not only are they having fun, and they're also making money, and they're increasing their business because they're part of this kind of environment and have this kind of support, so they can focus on relationship building. They can focus on taking their clients to the next level.
You're getting me passionate just listening to you. I'm getting excited.
Yay!
Imagine if we're listening in the car, you better pull over because this is energy filled. One of the things you will always see with successful brands in any industry is there comes a point where their front office starts to grow. You've been adding just a bunch of different highly skilled people in different areas. Why is that occurring now?
One thing that I think any smart business person, and I would like to hope that I'm somewhat of a smart, intelligent business person, knows, is you can't do it on your own. It takes a team, and so building our North American headquarters team has been has been a labor of love, and I believe we have crafted a team that works incredibly well together, and that takes time. You've got I always say creating a culture, whether it be from a brand or a brokerage level or in our headquarters office here, is all about, it's almost kind of like putting together a really good dinner party. You've got to decide, if I extend an invitation to this person, are they going to show up to the party? If they come to the party, are they going to have a good time? And likewise, the other guests at the party, are they going to be happy I invited that person? And are they also going to be have a good time? And if indeed the person you inviting to the party helps that take place, then you've probably got something pretty special. And that's how we built the culture here. We've been very selective about who we invite to the party at the front office or the headquarters team here. We've invited some amazing people. We're having a really good time, and because of those things, that dynamic has created a great culture that has now expanded out through our brand. And there's an old saying that culture will eat strategy any day. But if you've got culture and strategy, you got something pretty special. We've got a culture here that's just phenomenal, and we've got strategy behind us, so that works pretty well for us.
And real estate wasn't your first career, was it?
No, I'm definitely an entrepreneur at heart. I from at an early age, I was always running little different business ventures in elementary school and high school. I actually had a chain. I started my franchising, I think, when I was a kid. I had a chain of Kool-Aid stands, not just one. I got my neighbors to get involved, and so I had a Kool-Aid stand at the same time on like 4 or 5 different blocks. So I've always been entrepreneurial in my passion. But
what flavor sold the best?
Cherry Kool-Aid. I remember. I don't know why I remember that 50 years later or whatever years later. But yeah, no, cherry Kool-Aid was the one that was the most popular.
And then
it was already about the reds. Our brand is about white and red and black. So I guess the red was already built in back then. That the red Kool-Aid was the one that was going to sell. Well, I moved to Los Angeles in 2000. I started a .com in St. Louis. I was actually part of putting the first yellow pages on the internet. And I found pretty quickly as an entrepreneur that I was in the wrong market to be building that type of a .com brand at the time. You needed to be, in the Silicon Valley, San Francisco area, or at least in Los Angeles or New York. And by the time I figured that out, it was almost too late. But I moved to Los Angeles in 2000 to be a part of a capital company, helping entrepreneurs fund their business and build up their business plans. But the dot-com bomb went off just as I got to Los Angeles, and I found myself going, hey, this L.A. is not so bad. Living in Santa Monica is not the worst place on the planet to be, and I kind of want to stay here. So like a lot of people, I kind of fell into real estate. I had bought a property. The transaction was not a pristine transaction. I certainly don't believe I was represented the way I should have been represented, and I was represented by one of the top people in the marketplace. And so my entrepreneurial spirit kind of said, wait a minute, if this person is this successful and they don't provide a level of service that I think is appropriate, what if somebody actually came in here, wrote a business plan, had a strategy, put their clients' needs first? What would that look like, and how would that transpire? And so I went out and got my real estate license. I did what I thought all agents did. I wrote my business plan. I did my market research. I created my service strategy. And then I started selling real estate. And the right time I came on. Actually, I was going to say right time. It's actually wrong time. My first day in real estate was September 10th, 2001. The day before the World Trade Center. And so that was my first month in business was just as that crisis was taking place. But I hit it hard. I was consistent. I did what I think most agents who are very successful know. I did the right things consistently over time, and the more I did the right things and the more time there was, the more success I had. And I had a pretty dynamic first year, and it just kept going from there.
You got a lot of acclaim from the likes of the Wall Street Journal, the LA Times. More than 400 deals, more than $500 million in deals?
Yep, that's true. That's true. Over about a 9-year career. However, as time goes by, those numbers don't seem as exciting. At the time, they seemed huge, and I look at some of our private office advisors now, and I look at some of the years that they have, and I'm thinking, wow. But at the time, those numbers were huge. Those doing $80 million in volume. Not that doing $80 million in volume in a year right now is not a great number for someone, but now I know agents who do twice that, and I think, wow.
Give me one tip then for what could an agent do to mimic your success?
Oh my gosh, this seems so trite to say this, but I think if you just make sure your focus is, we were talking about America first earlier, but I think if you have a client first mentality, and as much as I think as we strive to do that as individuals, a lot of time we actually have a me first mentality followed by a client first mentality. But I found if you put your client's interest ahead of your own, and you do that consistently over time, your own personal needs will be met and far exceeded. And if you just kind of make every move from that standpoint, things work out really well. That, of course, coupled with you got to do the work. I think we're always looking for the magic pill. We're always looking for somebody to sell us a product or a service that's going to either do our job for us or actually do our job for us. And that's just not the way it works. I get to work with a lot of very successful real estate agents. In our brand now, we have our private office with 70 agents who are at the absolute top of their games. Many of them are on the Wall Street Journal top 250 list. But over the years, I've worked with a lot of top agents, and what I have found that the secret to success of the best agents are they do the work. They put their clients' needs first. They have the best true story to work with. They focus on listing properties and taking great care of their clients. And if you do that, over time, success will be yours, and it will be there in a big, big way.
You created eventually a 12-person team. Why'd you go that route?
This is kind of pre the team concept that I think Keller Williams really kind of perfected and made kind of almost an industry standard. I kind of work under the old marketing analogy, see what your competition is doing and do just the opposite. And at the time, there weren't any other teams per se in the marketplace. And as someone who had led some companies and some organizations, I've also know that there are areas where I have strengths and there's areas where I certainly need assistance. And so my team came first just out of the need. I knew that I wanted to put my attention on building relationships and generating listings. And so I knew I was not the best person to be doing or focusing on all the disclosures and all the documentation and all the check boxes that have to be done correctly. And so I was very fortunate. My team starts with my husband joining the organization. About 3 months in, we had done a couple transactions, and I said, I need you here. And so he came, and if you use kind of a restaurant analogy, I was the front of the house, out meeting the clients and building the relationships, and he was the back of the house. making sure all the details were being taken care of. That's where the team began. And then from there, I decided I wasn't really a buyer guy. I didn't really want to work with buyers as a focus. I wanted to be focused on sellers, but I was generating buyer leads. So it made sense for me then to, find some agents where I could help train them to do business in the way I wanted to under the Anthony Hitt brand, if you will. And I could also profit from that. So that's where that came. And then again, just, business begets activities, and activities, require somebody to do those activities if your client first attitude is in place. So with that being said, that's how the team built. And over time, we ended up being a 12-person team that was, I think, 8 agents and four support personnel. And we operated that way for quite a few years.
Well, you learned a thing or two about teams, and I want to come back to that. But first, let's pause for a moment and talk NAGLREP. NAGLREP was founded in 2007. It's a nonprofit with a mission of business and advocacy and is nearing 1,500 national members. NAGLREP benefits offer a profile on NAGLREP.com, which receives 75,000 unique visits a month and is the leading referrer of LGBT clients. 90% of NAGLREP members close 1 to 3 deals per year through their association with the organization. 8% close 4 to 6 deals, and 2% are closing 7 to 10 deals per year. NAGLREP also provides networking with a close-knit group of members and learning opportunities. And, of course, NAGLREP provides its members the capability to showcase leadership with the ability to address LGBT housing issues at the local, state, and national levels, as just seen by the NAGLREP Housing Policy Summit in Washington, D.C. Listeners can join at NAGLREP.com. Anthony, let's talk teams. It's a topic that seemingly everyone in real estate is talking about. You have a personal view that is quite interesting.
Yeah, I definitely have an opinion that I'm not sure if it's consistent with what most of us are hearing or are doing out there, and I guess I want to clarify what is the definition of a team. A team with the idea that there's a lead agent and a variety of agents, kind of like I created with my 12-person organization, over time wasn't the right thing for me. And what I found is, if just looking at it from a dollars and cents standpoint, did it make sense for me to have 8 agents on my team where I was training and coaching and had the turnover and getting an override on those transactions, or for me just to go out and do more business on my own with more assistance, if you will? And for me, it made sense to go more of to an assistant role. So we actually downsized our team in the latter years in business to a 4-person organization where we actually did more business and made more money. What I also found is the consumer, at least in our marketplace in Santa Monica, didn't really understand the team. It made sense as an agent. I know we hear about it in a lot of our workshops and our seminars and the events we go to, but the consumer doesn't really understand that. The consumer, for the most part, understands I'm hiring this individual who I trust and want, or maybe even a partnership. These 2 people to do what I need them to be done, but they're going to be there for me. When you start getting into being the XYZ team at XYZ brokerage, then it starts getting, I don't understand why I'm getting, isn't the brokerage a team? Isn't the brand a team? Are you pulling yourself away from that? And as I tested that and I did focus groups and I did the research, I found that the consumer wanted to deal with Anthony Hitt and whatever support structure I brought to the table, not the Anthony Hitt West Side sales team, and which was more confusing. And we renamed it different ways. We tried things, but ultimately we decided that just being Anthony Hitt with a group of individuals supporting me, so again, there was still a team, if you will, was a much better move, and the clients got it. It was better for business, and we had more profit, which, of course, a lot of us in this business, that's one of the things we don't do as well, is we don't make money even though we're doing a lot of business.
Well, who should create a traditional team versus what you could call a 2S team, support and structure team?
I think this is where every individual agent and every individual market needs to work with their brokerage leadership and determine what's best for them. Again, if you go back to what is your client, talk to your clients. What is it? Why do your clients choose you? If they're choosing you because of your team approach and the story you can tell and why your team can their needs, whether it's selling their property or helping them find the right property, and that works for you, then go for that. But just make sure that the financial model makes sense for you as well. If you're looking for something that you can ultimately probably transition or sell to someone else, a team also might make some sense. If you're trying to actually work your way out of the business where other people are continuing to do the business while you're not there. And that's something that, when I stopped selling, other than I have a nice referral business, my business didn't have a lot of equity that I could sell to somebody else. If, on the other hand, it's really just about generating profits and taking great care of your clients, you might want to go a different route. But I don't think there's that's what I love about this industry. There's not really a one-size-fits-all. As a brand leader with Engel & Volkers, we're very much about consistency on a worldwide stage, but we still understand that not one size doesn't fit all. Every brokerage in every market, every advisor in every market has very distinct needs and serves a very distinct clientele, and the systems around them have to be flexible so they can create that bespoke service for that person. I think an agent has to do the same thing. They've got to be, but I think the thing is, a lot of times we make decisions based on gut feelings or based on what someone on a stage at an event told us to do. And a lot of times the people who are on the stage telling us what to do have never sold real estate. So I think, listen to your sources, do your research, do your due diligence, test different ideas, and then do what's best for you is always the right answer.
If I wanted to go that 2S model, getting support and structure, can I still partner with other agents to help pay for these administrative assistant roles?
Well, I think that's something that we need to look at, because I do believe the statistics show that most an agent that's producing $50,000 to $75,000 a year in commission usually has an assistant these days. But how can you afford to hire a capable assistant as you're just getting started? And I think a good way to do that in the beginning is look at some of the virtual technologies, because there are some great virtual assistance capabilities. A lot of brokerages are now putting support staff that you can hire on demand, if you will. And another way to go is to find other agents, not necessarily partner with the other agents, don't necessarily create a team, but find other like-minded agents in your brokerage and maybe share a resource. Because if all of us pitch in $10,000 a year, maybe we can have a really, really good assistant that can help all four of us do what we need to do. But maybe starting off with a shared service is a good way to go. The only advice I would give, of course, is if you're going to do any kind of a partnership, whether it's a shared service or a true partnership, put it in writing, put it in writing, put it in writing. Because one of the things I do see with teams and with partnerships is a lot of times the internal stresses that are created, the tensions, actually do just the opposite of helping us grow our business. They end up they actually distract from the business.
I think we can see why you were named the CEO of Engel & Volkers in 2014 to run the North American operations. But how did you get involved with this group?
One of the reasons I got into real estate was the economical aspects of needing a different position, but also one of my idols was a guy named Tommy Hopkins. And Tommy was one of my mentors, and Tommy suggested that maybe I got into real estate for a while because ultimately I wanted to get back out into the training business. And I kind of saw myself as maybe a Brian Buffini or a Mike Ferry. And with that, as I got into the business, I was kind of planning on doing that. But then business was really good, and I didn't want to walk away from it. As I was getting close to my 10 years of selling, I was making that more and more of a plan, a direction I wanted to go. And Engel & Volkers approached me in California and said, "Hey, would you come on and help coach and lead some of our brokerages in the California market?" And it was the right time. I just had my best 2 quarters as a real estate professional. I felt good about where I was at, but I thought I was ready to see what this next step could look like. And I made the decision to join the brand. I came on first as what they call the head of real estate, and I coached some of our shops on the West Coast. Ultimately, Christian Volkers asked me if I would come to New York City. I'd always thought living in New York City would be interesting. And so Sean and I picked up and moved to New York City as the COO. And then again, things really started to tick. And like you said, in 2014, they asked me if I would take over the role as a CEO. So it was kind of one of those overnight success stories over about 5 years. And again, I couldn't be happier about where I'm at right now and what we're doing.
Now, one of the more interesting recent announcements from the company was that you are going to be a corporate sponsor of NAGLREP. Is that a personal or a business decision?
Well, I would have to be being totally honest. It's both, without any question. As a gay person, Sean and I have been together for almost 30 years. We'll be celebrating 30 years here next year, which is pretty exciting. We've been, legally married. I think we were legally married on the first day you could be married in the state of California, which is very exciting. So I obviously have a lot of personal opinions and views when it comes to the LGBT community. But in my role here as the CEO, it's a lot about business. It's doing the right thing at the right time, but it's also about how do we grow our brand and grow our business. And what I've said is we are an exclusive organization. We want people here who get it, but we're a very diverse organization worldwide. You can't be a global brand and not be diverse. And ENGEL VÖLKERS is a very diverse brand. We're very inclusive. All types of people from all walks of life make up who we are as a brand, and we believe that's also part of our success. When that's who the makeup of the brand is and our brokerages, then you're serving the entire community. And we believe that what's going on with NAGLREP and the influence that NAGLREP has, the track record that Jeff and the team has created over the last 10 years is extremely excited, and we just wanted to be a vocal part of what's happening there to make sure we can continue to tell our story as a very inclusive brand that represents all types of people when it comes to buying and selling real estate.
Well, you'll be thrilled that Anthony is scheduled to be a featured speaker at the NAGLREP National LGBT Real Estate Conference on October 17th through 19th. Coming off the successful Housing Policy Summit, it's onwards to Palm Springs. Yes, the conference is moving west. More than 700 are expected to attend in what will be the largest LGBT and allies real estate event ever. Registration is open now at naglrep.com. Anthony, as a real estate leader, how do you suggest the industry embrace the LGBT community and its almost $1 trillion in disposable income?
Well, I mean, when you consider just the amount of dollars on the table there, I think if you look at that, I think that means the LGBT community is bringing actually more dollars to the table when it comes to real estate than even the Asian community right now. And all of our brokerages, all of our brands, and I'm talking about an industry, not just ENGEL VÖLKERS. We're always trying to make sure we create a service platform that caters to first-time buyers or Hispanic buyers or Asian buyers. And not to do that for the LGBT community would be a bad business decision, number one. So I think that's probably the first reason that someone should consider. The first reason I think is always socially. Again, this is the right time. This is the right place to be, whether you're a gay person or a straight person when it comes to just the climate that we're living in on a worldwide stage. But from a purely business standpoint, this is a huge audience, and you want to make sure that your brokerage, whether you as an individual agent or you as a brokerage, is getting a piece of that. I mean, when we're talking about a traditionally more affluent group with a high amount of disposable income, or buying and selling properties, you don't want to be left out from those transactions. And so providing a service platform, understanding that culture, understanding that community, again, whether you are LGBT or not, just makes a lot of business sense.
I want to put you on the spot. What's the future for ENGEL and VÖLKERS?
Onward and upward. One of the things that I'm asked constantly is, what does I lose sleep about? And we have got a magical, and I can't think of a better word, a magical culture. And protecting that culture is extremely important. The good news is, our culture is almost 40 years old, and we've maintained it for 40 years, and we've been in the United States. It was a little bumpy at first, but now we're on the right plane. I think you're going to see a lot more ENGEL VÖLKERS shops in very high-profile locations. You're going to continue to see the best of the best join our brand, and you're going to see success. And again, we don't want to be another what I call insert logo here brand. We want to be something that's different, and we want to be something that's special. We want to do the right things for our clients and for the communities that we serve, and we do good, have fun, make money, and that philosophy is working well. I think if we keep doing that, whether it be us as ENGEL and VÖLKERS or us as an industry or us as a community, that things are going to work out.
Well, if you pulled over before because of Anthony's passion and excitement, you can put the blinker back on. Anthony, on behalf of all of us at NAGLREP and in the LGBT community, we can't thank you enough for your support, and we're looking so far ahead into the future and celebrate the excitement and achievements that are coming for ENGEL and VÖLKERS.
David, thank you so much for inviting me, and thanks to the entire NAGLREP organization and Jeff Berger. I'm excited that we're even a bigger part of what's going on there today, and looking forward to our futures together. There's a lot that can be done, both from a social standpoint and a business standpoint, and I really believe that this is a movement that again, the time is right, and we're going to do some exciting things together.
Onwards to Palm Springs. Thank you again, Anthony. This has been NAGLREP Success. Until next time, I'm David Cerroti.